Hello and welcome to this short introduction to the circular design map. In this tutorial, I'll show you how we at switchrs use this tool to brainstorm on possible circular business models, find patterns in existing cases, and explore opportunities. If you would like to use this tool yourself, you can go to diy.switchrs.com and download the PDF version. So this is what it looks like. Basically, the tool wants to give you a quick overview of material flows and what you can do with them. I'll start with quickly going through the different building blocks of this tool, and after that I'll explain a bit more on how to use it, and we'll end with an example case. Let's start with the general flow of this tool. So the idea is that you map your product or a part of your product from virgin material up until the end of life phase. So we'll start from the raw or the virgin materials, go over production, to distribution, the use phase, and then finally waste stream valorization, incineration, and or dumping of the leftover materials. And the goal is that you try to draw a line from the left side, from your materials, all the way to the right side, which is the end of life phase. And then we see how we can make that flow of materials more circular. In the virgin materials block, you'll find both the energy and the materials that you used. So the central question here is about the origin of your materials. Are you using renewable or non-renewable energy? Is your product made out of fossil-based materials like oil-based plastics, or reusable non-renewable materials like iron or marble or ore? Technical biomaterials are materials from a renewable feedstock like cornstarch or linseed oil, etc. But materials that you can't directly put back into nature. So it is important here to understand the difference between biodegradable materials and biocompostable materials. And finally, we have the biomaterials, which are the compostable bio-based materials. Next step is production. Here we've let some extra blanks in, so you can, if you want to, make some nuances in different production plants, processes that are done by you versus third-party providers, etc. And then after production, there's the channels that you use to bring your product or service to your customer. As always, this does not have to be reduced to one single thing. Quite possibly you're using several channels depending on the target audience. Your own channels are the sales channels that you personally own. So this can be either online or offline or both. Retailers or shops owned by others who sell your product for you. And then finally you have the product service systems. So this last one implies that you might not sell the product as such, but you sell the functionality of the product. So you could, for example, look at a car manufacturer. Your own sales channels would be exclusive dealers or online platforms. Retail would be the more general car sales. And then a product service system could be that you, instead of selling the car, develop a car sharing platform on which you can put your car as a service. Next step, the use phase. Your product can be used in a B2C or a B2B context, which is what we're aiming for with the users and the company's boxes. Now, additionally, you or someone else can also offer repair services during the use phase. Now, once a product gets outdated or worn out or breaks down, it will find its way one way or the other to a waste pile. Is there some sort of recycling program, either owned by you or set up by your local government? How about waste collection schemes? Or if you're working with biodegradable or biocompostable materials, maybe some sort of composting process, be it at home or on an industrial scale. Also try to think here in a next cycle. If the materials are recycled, who is using them afterwards? Are you taking them back? Are they put in the market? And if you're composting, your process might also help in growing new crops or generating new energy. And then finally, if the materials are not reused, the leftovers move to the waste pile, where they either get incinerated or dumped. And even though incineration might give you some extra energy that you can use in production, from a material or circular economy point of view, it's still an end-of-the-road kind of strategy, since the materials themselves are forever lost after this step. Okay, so those are the different steps in the circular design map. And at Switchrs, we use this tool as follows. We first map out a business as usual scenario in which we probably simplify some of the steps in order to get a clear overview of a very specific material or case. And once we've got that baseline measurement, we start to explore. We usually take a different color of marker and we look for the opportunities and the alternatives, trying to keep in mind, of course, the nature of the product, the costs, user behavior, habits, etc. Let's try that with an example. Interface is a producer of carpet tiles for a B2B environment. Simplified, the business as usual scenario looks like this. Nylon and rubber are created from fossil materials. They are then through production converted into the carpet tiles, which are then sold to companies who want carpet tiles in their offices. End of life, these carpets go to an incineration plant for energy recovery. So, pretty early on, Interface figured that they might actually do things a little different, but also better. Better for themselves, business-wise, but also better for the environment. So they started setting up these take-back schemes, where they would pick up the old and used carpet tiles, strip the rubber, which they could reuse pretty much immediately again, and then recycle the nylon into new nylon. And this switch also meant that instead of selling, it made more sense to lease or to rent the tiles in a product service system, because then they could keep a better track of where the tiles were, geographically speaking. Now, once this model started rolling, Interface started thinking about the front end of their business model. Because at the end of the pipeline, things are pretty closed right now, as you can see, but in a business model that grows, you'll still need new oil-based plastics. And that's when they came up with the idea of net effect. One of the most iconic places where you can find nylon as a waste stream is in our oceans, in the form of discarded fishing nets. And these nets are extremely dangerous and damaging to the ecosystems of our ocean, entangling and suffocating enormous amounts of animals. Together with local fishing communities, they started to collect old and used fishing nets and recycle them into new nylon for their carpet. This way, they didn't only close the loop at the end of use phase, but they also designed a business model that helps in cleaning up the oceans. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this short introduction of the circular design map. If you have any comments, additions, or remarks, please let us know below the video or in a direct message. You can contact us always at hi@switchrs.com. And we are really looking forward to seeing if and how you'll use this tool. So please share your work and show us what you'll be creating. Thank you.